La que se puso malita fue mi esposa, le bajó la oxigenación y la llevé al médico. Ya le otra vez el medicamento. Pues ahí estamos. Estamos.
Que se mejore pronto, cuídala mucho.
Sí, sí, gracias. Vamos a esperar a... So everybody's late, huh?
So elementary school finalize at 3 o'clock. They are at school.
Okay. So they're still in school then?
Until 3 o'clock.
Till 2 o'clock, okay. All right.
Yes.
Good. Okay, no worries, Alejandra. Okay, so we have Elke, Ale Álvarez, Alejandra Murillo, and Maestro Iván. Were you last? No, that wasn't you, right? That was Daniel. It's a different one. And then Isabel. Ale Álvarez, you were in last time, right?
Hi, no, on Thursday I didn't go to the meeting because I got to get my booster, the vaccine.
Yes.
But now I'm here.
So yes, it's important that you get vaccinated, because well, both my wife and I are vaccinated, but we got the bug. I mean, como dice el TikTok, no me dio COVID, me dio Omicron. el pitufo, ¿no? No, it's but my wife is she needed medicine and stuff. I didn't. Natalia, yes, okay. Isabel, hello.
Hello.
How you doing? Bon appetit. What are you eating?
Sí, enchiladas.
Good. I had caldito de pollo. Good soup. Natalia, hello.
Hi, good afternoon to everybody.
Recibí tu mensaje y te iba a cotorrear, pero dije, no me llevo tan pesado como con ella.
¿Qué me ibas a decir?
Sí, estoy increíblemente perdida y confundida.
Es que no sé qué se trae.
Te iba a decir, mira, hay niños, hay niñas, varoncitos.
Qué malo eres, Gerson. Oigan, una pregunta, ¿mi cámara está activada o está desactivada?
Sí, nada más vemos el foco.
Ok. Dame un segundito.
Hello, Jimena.
Hello. How are you doing, Gerson?
I was telling everybody that I didn't really feel bad. I mean, I just had this headache. like 3 days on the road.
Ajá.
Tú ya sabes, de esa que no, ni te da tan fuerte ni tan poquito. Está nada más ahí molestingando, ¿no? So I wasn't like a headache, you know. So I couldn't sleep. But other than that, I didn't have anything. My wife had fever. She had, more symptoms. So I took her to the doctor last night, and she's medicated now, so she's feeling better. But yes, I couldn't make it on Tuesday. My mind, it wasn't really, de por sí. And then sick. It's even worse, right? So, and if it's possible, please turn your cameras on so we can see each other. Total, si no se han bañado, pues total no nos vamos a oler. But if you can turn your cameras on so we can see each other, all right?
I need to have my camera off just a few minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah. I mean, as long that you come back, right? I mean,
Yeah.
in fact, if it's possible, right? Because
Okay. Thank you.
all right, cool. So today we discuss about group control. We're gonna touch on the homework later in the class, but today is about error correction. Okay. Can you see my screen? Not if you see it. Cool. Thanks. All right. So these squares tells us the core of a very interesting topic, and yet very small, but very significant, and I'll explain why. The first square says, when should we correct? Yes or no? The following square says, Alejandro Murillo. Y luego me platicas el chiste porque estás... No te oímos. No. ¿Otra? Ok, otra. Dice Jimena, the second square.
How should we correct?
So these are two very important questions. When?
Sorry, can you listen now?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, we can hear you.
no, it's okay.
When and how we should correct. I mean, do we have to correct? Yes, the answer is yes. The when and the how is the important thing about correcting our students, right? And then after that, there must be some integration, or another book says feedback. No, creo que el sistema uno maneja eso, feedback to your students. A little bit of theory. Hello, April. Hello, Lorena. And that's it. So, hello, Lorena. No te vi el jueves, ¿eh? Mala onda. Your audio.
The vaccine, they were horrible days.
Yes, the vaccine is very bad, and actually, Mariana wanted to be on your school today, and I said, no, Mariana. I might feel better.
Yes, I know.
But it's dangerous,
Yes.
I'm still sick.
It's better like this.
Yes, of course. Colegio PC24, yay! Whoever you are, welcome. Okay, so we have two premises to understand in this topic. Number one, mistakes are good things. Okay, you need to understand that even though you are super teacher, extremely sexy, and super smart, you will make mistakes. Okay, it's human. Hello, Daniel. It's human to make mistakes. Therefore, in the classroom, you make mistakes, and who else make mistakes? Isabel, I read your lips.
The children.
Exactly. Students make mistakes. So you need to, that's the first premise, you need to understand that your class should be relaxed enough for you and for them to feel comfortable making a mistake. Okay, and the second premise of this topic is that we need to make a difference between an error and a mistake. All right? In the English language, error and mistakes are different. Can you read where it says an error reflects, Jimena?
An error reflects the competence of the learner, whereas a mistake refers to a performance error that is either a random guess or a slip.
Very good. It's like, for example, I asked Jimena, okay, Jimena, I need an essay about the history of the different astronauts sent in the space for right now. So she probably would have a very nice English essay, but the content might be a little bit not accurate, correct? Why?
Because I'm not prepared, I need to do some research.
Because she doesn't know, right? It's an error. She will have lots of errors on dates and names because she doesn't know. So you, as a teacher, you need to make sure that your students know, understand, and are able to comply with the activities. And maybe Ali Alvarez says, well, duh, teacher, that's obvious. But you know what? I've been an English coordinator or a teacher's coordinator many years. And sad to say, I've seen teachers assuming that the students know. Así típico, ¿no? The colleague teacher walks into the classroom and writes on the board, today is present perfect. Y luego se voltea, do you know what present perfect is? Have you seen teachers like that? First of all, it's a stupid question. Why is a stupid question? ¿El qué?
Because you go to school to learn.
Because they don't know. The answer is no. So you need to make sure that the mistakes that you are to be alert to correct, or that you're going to correct to your students, is because second premise, and listen to me, you have taught that to your students, that your students know the topic, that your students know the vocabulary, and then yes, they will make mistakes because it's human, right? And then we're going to see some of the techniques for correcting mistakes. No errors. Errors cannot be corrected because they don't know. Like Jimena said, if I asked her to do the essay, I would have had, or she would have needed to have some research done, right? In other words, she needed to learn before. All right, so far so good? Cool, all righty. Hello, Ana Isabel, you okay? Yes, okay.
Hello, yes, I'm just like you with COVID.
Oh, you have COVID too? Yeah.
Yes, I am, but I'm good. Thank you.
No, somos de TikTok, o sea, no me dio COVID, me dio Omicron, que es como COVID pero pitufo. Right, exactly. So, you haven't seen that TikTok? ¿A poco soy el único que se desvela viendo TikToks?
No, ya di el viejazo, and I'm not there yet.
Cálmate, Ana Isabel. How old are you?
31.
¿Cuánto?
31.
Sí, she's I'm 40, or 39-ish. Cuando tenga 40 voy para atrás, vas a ver. Okay. So we said that the two premises. Number one, never assume a student knows. The first one was to have your class relaxed enough for the students to feel comfortable enough to make mistakes, especially you that you deal with children, right? We have the issue of the self-esteem and the bullying and blah, 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 no? So you need to, excuse me, you need to be careful with that. And secondly, never assume a student knows, all right? So what if a student knows and you have taught him or her, and she or she made mistakes? Well, let's see some of the characteristics or the tendency. We're going to listen to a video of a teacher discussing about some of the techniques that he has. These are perfectible. So please pay attention, and then you tell me if you agree or you disagree and why. Okay? Let me just open it. Excuse me. Se siente como un gripón, ¿verdad, Isabel?
Yes, that's all I feel, like a lot of cough, and right now my nose, but that's about it, and not even like a hard one.
You can go to the school, right? Because you might have some children infected, no?
Yes, we are giving the class virtual right now.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, let me. Can you see my screen? Not if you see it.
Hello, my name is Stephen Story from MadridTeacher.com, and I'm going to talk a little bit about error correction techniques that you can use in a classroom with English students. The aim of these error correction techniques is to get the students to self-correct, to notice their errors or to remind them of their errors, and sometimes to teach them about what they're doing wrong. Okay? They might make 5, 6 errors in the same sentence, so you always have to make a decision, you know, how many errors to correct, or whether to correct all of them. Okay, you might have, for example, in a sentence like, "Oh, Pablo, what'd you do this weekend?" "Dinner with your wife." Well, you have, you know, they might say dinner with your wife. Well, you have a pronunciation "your wife," and you might have a past simple error, Spanglish error, possessive adjective error. Lack of a subject error, and you have to work your way through this if you want to correct all of them. Okay, you might just come out and you reformulate. You know, no, you had dinner with your wife, and you can do this for the other students in the class, or you can do it for the student. He'll notice the mistakes if he usually makes these mistakes. You can overreact with whose wife? With my wife. It's a bit of humor for the student. You can decide not to understand. You can say, "Excuse me, what?" Give them a look, you know. Ask them to repeat, you know. If it's an ingrained error, you can say, you know, stretch the sentence out a bit. I think it needs to be longer, okay. If there's a third person error, not in this case, you might say, "Hey, third person S," okay. To overdo it, you know. She go to the disco every Friday. She goes, okay. You might repeat the sentence up to the point that you want them to correct, you know. So, dinner with wife, dinner with, you know, something like this. You can use your fingers, finger counting. Dinner with wife, you know, what's this? Possessive adjective. You can point out as possessive adjective. Dinner with my wife, okay, or your wife, my wife, whoever's wife. Well, then, you know, you can point out the Spanglish error. The Spanglish error is, in Spanish, cene, dinner is a verb. But in English it's not, so, or at least dine. You can dine, but not dinner. So, but what's the verb that goes with dinner? Have dinner, or have dinner. But we're talking about the past, yeah? This gesture, the past. not the future, not the present. Use these little gestures to demonstrate what you want them to understand or whatever. So have dinner with. And the subject, I have dinner with. But the past, I had dinner with. Okay? And you work through these things. Okay? You might say something, I went to the meeting market in my car, and the student says, oh, you're a car. Now, why is the student saying this? You're not a car. You might say, I am not a car, I'm a person. And give them a little humor and try to elicit the correct sentence, the correct structure. Well, I think the reason they're using this is because they're regressing to an easier grammar form, or easier structure, because they're not really comfortable, or they're not able to produce actively. They're not able to produce this present simple structure. So, okay, you are a car. You are a car, but it's a different verb. It's not are. It's you have a car. But what's the question? Do you need a subject? What's the subject? Or excuse me, what's the auxiliary? What's the auxiliary? Do you have a car? Okay, and this is how you can work through it. Okay. If there's a question word, what? Why do you have a car? So you have asi, auxiliary, subject, infinitive, auxiliary, do, subject, you, have, infinitive, or quasi, a question word. Do you have a car? Why do you have a car? Okay? They might say something like, you are a teacher. Okay? And you get, no. Are you? Or you say, are you, with the finger counting, are you a teacher? And they might say, no, turn it around. Are you? You are. Or you are teacher. And you get them to practice this infinitive thing. You elicit that, because in Spanish, they don't use these articles. So you get them to practice them, because they'll learn them, and then they'll never use them until you practice them for a while. So you can drill this, Are you pilot? Are you a pilot? Are you architect? Are you an architect? Engineer? Are you an engineer? And so on. They'll always say, like, not as big, not is not big. And what's the subject? It is not big. And you can drill, it's not, or it isn't, and you aren't, and you're not, and so on. Okay? There are a lot of pronunciation errors you can correct with this thing, Germany, not Germany. It's my money. Obstacles, not obstacles, because in Spanish they say obstáculos. Okay? You can act it up a bit. You can say, I'm really sad about my new job. And you can say, oh, you're really sad. You can act it up a bit. They say big, small, tall, short, tired. And they might say something like, my English is short. You can use a song that you've taught them in class, that you've used in class. I don't know much English. Dun, 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 dun. And you listed the song, I don't know much. Or they might say people is, and you say people are. People are people. The large road. No, largo. I said, no. The long and winding road. And don't be embarrassed by your poor singing skills, because I'm not, and they won't be if they learn something from it. They might say, in pronunciation, they might say coffee. I went to the coffee. It's cafe. A-E, cafe. Cafe, not coffee. Okay? And they might say Jew. Jew, no. It's you know. And, oh, it's very nice. Now, very, you have to demonstrate with your mouth, okay? There. No, there. Okay, there. What do you want to do? No. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You practice this first, then you show them in writing, Some things are major leagues errors. They might say they want some piles, because in Spanish it's pilas. They want some batteries, so they go to the shitty to buy some piles. That could be a real problem. Okay. Well, thank you for watching, and see you the next time on Madrid.
Alrighty. So, comments, Daniel. What do you like or dislike?
Well, I thought it was perfect because especially like how he said the example of pilas and batteries, because there are a lot of kids that mix both words Spanglish.
Right, Roberto. So what Daniel said is actually a secret for basic levels. I mean, you don't really have that problem because you have multi-level classes. But if you were to teach basic levels, those are the hardest. If you get to hold on, somebody's knocking on my door. Give me a second. Sorry, Amazon. Okay, so if you were to teach basic levels, those are the hardest. And you know why? Because you can't speak Spanish. I mean, advanced levels are easy, right? You walk into the classroom, y así de, okay, conversation class. But no, in basic levels are harder because you can't speak Spanish. But what Daniel said is one of the key strategies, and these are called cognates. Do you know the word cognates? Sí, can you elaborate, Ale? Sorry.
Are like confusing words.
Confusing word, okay.
Like yes, it's are words that can be similar in Spanish or in English, but they actually have different meaning, like embarrassed, or when you have folder or carpet, they confuse it a lot of the time.
Right. Cognate is a word.
Or those are sorry, those are false cognates or false friends.
Thank you. Cognate is false and true. False cognate or true cognate. 17% of the English language is Latin, or it comes from Latin. So many words are similar. Example, exit, éxito, that's a false cognate. But for example, information is a true cognate. Or sexy, Gerson is also a true cognate. Okay, no. So what other technique did this teacher say? Jimena?
Well, the pronunciation for B, because it's like that confusing and you need to emphasize to use a V with the lips and your tongue to make this V and just the lips for the other B. That was a good one, a good advice too.
Okay, the v, right? What about you, Isabel? Oh, you're eating, sorry. What about you, Lorena? Oh, she's gone. Elke?
Yes. I like the finger counting to separate the sentence parts.
Good.
And repeat the sentences. When it's a mistake, you can repeat and they can hear how did they say that the words.
Very good. We all want that, right? Show them the finger. Sorry, that didn't come out right. Anyways, it's a little joke. You shouldn't see Ale's face. Oh my Lord, it's a joke, Ale. Okay, so now about correcting our students. What are some of the techniques that we can follow? Let's go back to our presentation. Can you see my my screen? Not if you see it. Thank you. So we're going to see some of the techniques. Hello, April. some of the techniques that that we can use in order to correct our students. Now, these techniques are how we can put it in a chronological order per se. I mean, if the number 1 doesn't work, you go to number 2 and then number 3 and so forth. Okay, you don't start with number 3 or the last one. You start with number 1 and continue. So number 1 is the question what. Can you read this, Ale Murillo?
Start with the question what. The student will immediately know there is something wrong with the statement he or she produced and will be open for help.
Very good. So if you know, if Juanito Perez is like, I teacher or I student, what? And you can even exaggerate a little bit, right? Because Juanito Perez in that moment is going to be like, and he starts thinking, right? I did something wrong, but I don't know why. But let me think about it. So in this moment, you should wait a couple of seconds in order to Juanito Perez to respond. But what if Juanito Perez is still lost in the space? And Jimena asks, what? And Juanito Perez is like, what? So then you move to the next strategy. Pinpoint error correction. Can you read this? Who's here? Ale Alvarez, please.
Error correction techniques. Pinpoint error location. If your student doesn't realize where the mistake is, try to guide him or her by repeating the statement yourself and stopping right before the missing wrong word.
Yeah, example, the same example, no? Go ahead,
Okay.
read it.
I went shopping now, teacher. I went shopping, what, when?
Right. So Jimena is like, what? Juanito Perez is what? So then you will stop by cueing where the mistake is. Who? Me or you? Pues I am a student or I am a teacher. And so for the same example here, I went, when, what? So you will tell them when is the, or where is the mistake. But what if Juanito Perez is still lost in the space? So then you move to the next strategy. Am I going too fast? It's okay. It's good? Okay. Use fingers. Show him the finger now. Can you read this, Jimena?
Use fingers. In the event that your student is still confusing or forgetting a certain word or tense, use your fingers to show them the right syntax or missing extra word they need in their statement.
Very good. So, but this time you have had assigned fingers or gestures to your concepts, right? I know you do because you do that a lot with children. It's called TPR. I don't know the topics or how to do or what have you done. But for example, if it's, I don't know, if it's if, I go like this, right? If. So every time my students see me doing this, that means that if, or if you have the questions, what do you, or are you are a teacher, and then I turn my hand around. Are you a teacher? So when you assign fingers or gestures to concepts, what happens, Alejandra Murillo? You couldn't listen to me? No? When you assign concepts and the fingers to your, fingers and gestures to the concepts that you're teaching, how does it make it easier for you?
Okay, actually, I was where I was laughing because I use American Sign Language to teach English or to teach verbs to my students. I realize that it's a very useful way to teach them how to express, but in a real way. So I don't use the fingers, well, like the teacher use it in the video, but I use it like for real American Sign Language, and it's really interesting. And I'm learning at the same time that they are doing it. So I use it all the time with my students for especially with verbs. It's really interesting.
So you do two vocabularies, right?
Yes, and it's and that way they realize that they can or I don't have to or when I want them to remember some verbs, I only make like the movement example, like eat is like this, or drink, or think, or something like that, and they use it. Or for past, you have to move your hands for one part to another, and it's a very useful way. Or when I want them to say some quotes like, may I go to the bathroom without interrupting others, I like, this is, can I go to the restroom? And they can go, and I say yes.
Very good. Excellent. So you start with the question, what? Juanito Perez is lost in the space, so you tell him where the mistake is, and Juanito Perez is still lost in the space, so you move to finger pointing or assigning the concept so they will, or he will, acknowledge where the mistake is. So far so good? But Juanito Perez is a stone. He's still lost in the space, so we move to the next strategy. And this is called providing multiple choice. These last two, this one and the following, are going to be your last resource. Okay? Are going to be like the planos y Juanito Perez is lost in the space. So providing multiple choice, can you read this? Who's here? Adi. Your audio, Adi?
Okay. Sorry. Error correction technique. Provide multiple choice. This is an option for semi-modeling the right answer. Once you've tried the previous technique and your students doesn't seem to self-correct, provide an easy logical multiple choice question to activate your student's memory. For example, student, I am a engineer. Teacher, a or an.
Very good. So in this almost last resource is telling almost the answer, right? We can read the example. I am an engineer. And the teacher went from what, the finger pointing, telling them where the mistake is, and Juanito Perez is still lost. So then you can read it in your own words. A ver, Juanito Perez, a or an? Right? So you're actually telling them or him almost the answer. Now, parenthesis, and before moving to the last strategy, which my recommendation is not to use it just as an emergency. But before that, before providing multiple choice answers and fingers, there used to be another technique, and it's called peer correction. Peer as a colleague. PER, peer correction. That means equal, right? You can Google it, peer correction in English classrooms. There will be like 2.4 billion different pages. Select one, read it, and get familiar with it. Now, we have to delete it because according to the new crystal generation, it's considered bullying. Okay, and let me explain what it is. For example, El que is lost in the space. We went with what? We went with finger pointing, blah, blah, blah. And el que is still lost in the space. So I go like, a ver, Alejandra Murillo, can you tell us the answer? That is peer correction.
Could you help her or no?
I'm going there. This is very helpful only and only if you know your students. And this is special important to you guys because you deal with children, right? And self-esteem is not really that, how do you call it? We're not really a fan of it these last days. So, if you ask, a ver Alejandra, ¿puedes ayudarle? If you know the student, and if you know Alejandra, that she will not make it, as don't worry, April, that's okay, I understand. If Alejandra, it's really actually willing to help, then it's fine. But what happens if Alejandra is like, yo sí sé, a ver, ven para que te explique. How's the other student going to feel? Or, y no me van a decir que no, pero bueno, you have your teacher's favorite, right? You have the favorite student. He's always, or she's always like, me, and always the answer, the whole word done. And as a teachers, we tend to have it easy in the classroom. A ver, Jimena, ¿cuál es la respuesta? ¿Y qué pasa con Jimena? Puf, claro, teacher, a ver. Discípulos, escúchenme. So then we go into a role of the students bullying Jimena or vice versa and so forth. So, anazionalizing the strategy, because as Elke said, que le puedes ayudar a tu compañera. If you only know your students, that's okay. Otherwise, be careful, because we're living in a crystal generation. Okay, back in our days, it was different, right? But now it's different. All right. So what if all of these strategies didn't work? Juanito Perez had a rough night, and he's lost in the space. So we go to the last resource. That my recommendation is not to do it unless it's an emergency. And this is called modeling or to model. Can you read the first point? Natalia, please.
Yeah, sure. After you've gone through all of the correction techniques explained before, and your student still fails to understand his or her mistake, provide a straightforward correction and have him integrate these words to the statement. This should be your last resource.
Sorry, there's a mistake there.
Resort. Yeah. Example, student, she works at home. Teacher, she works at home. Repeat.
Okay, so this is modeling. In other words, modeling is giving the answer or answering for the student. This is your last resource, teachers. Why it should be your last resource? What happens when a student or when a teacher, what happens when a teacher is used to giving the answer?
Maybe because they are not going to think about the answer. I mean, they're not in the effort to think about the correct answer.
Very good, excellent. Y la que te está haciendo bullying, dile que contestaste bien. Que digo yo que mejor tu comentario. No te creas, I'm just kidding. So, that's exactly what Alice said. The students will become lazy. Pues al fin ahorita la Miss me dice. ¿Cómo era, Miss? ¿Cómo va? So your students become slackers and they're not going to produce English. That's why there are many students going through secundaria, primaria, university, blah, blah, and they haven't moved from basic 1 because they're lazy. Okay? Now, sad to say, and I hope I'm sure it's not Colegio del Bosque's situation, sad to say, some teachers modeling is their favorite and the first one to use. Why?
Because, well, I think it's easier for them. Just say the answer and repeat, yes, write them, and okay, let's go.
Thank you, it's the easiest. I understand, I've been an English teacher for many years. I know. It's one of those days that, ay, o sea, de plano, no comieron sus azucaritas, ¿verdad? You want to give zapes to everyone and, a ver, repeat. It's the easiest teachers. But don't do that, really. Even though you feel tempted to do it. Because it really damages your students' learning process. Excuse me. Sore throat. Okay, so far so good? So even though this is the easiest, don't do it, it's your last resource, and is most likely just to say the answer, but it's not teaching really. Okay, so conclusions. Can you read this, Ana Isabel? Can you, or?
Yes, I can. Some teachers correct every mistake made by their students. Other teachers rarely or never correct their students' mistake. Both approaches have serious weaknesses. The first one leads to students' nervousness and as a consequence, lack of fluency. The second one leads to students to speak, but whose English is hard to understand.
Very good, very good. So both extremes are incorrect. One is the strict teacher that is always correcting you. ¿Qué pasa con los alumnos? Pues ya mejor no dice nada, ¿no? And the other extreme is the teacher that never corrects or hardly ever corrects. So the students will actually feel comfortable talking, but they feel they're going to sound like, very funny English. So find the balance. And what is the balance? Remember the two premises in the beginning. What was the first one? Thank you for paying attention. The first premise is that in the classroom, the students should feel what? Okay, let me put it this way.
Comfortable with you?
Exactly. They must feel comfortable enough in the classroom with you and the other classmates to make a mistake. Because that's the other issue, no? You might have one or two bullies that ahí no sabes, híjole, de veras. Si eso es básico, no, be careful with that. Try to develop relax, as a word, relax atmosphere in your classroom. And the second premise is what? No? You want me to do it again? to check it again? Never what to students? Never assume what?
They know.
Thank you. Never assume that. If you have your atmosphere relaxed and you as a teacher acknowledge that there are students, that they are there to learn, then you will find the balance in correcting. Because you're not going to expect too much from students, and you will let the other students to make a mistake in order to learn. And I've seen teachers having these pep motivational talks and ya saben sus, ¿cómo se llama? Sus posters over there like, yo nunca pierdo, yo aprendo y blah, blah, blah. But that's okay. Whatever you need, you know your students. Whatever is needed for you to achieve that. So, last conclusions. Number 1, April. Can you read it or? Yes, okay.
When students make a mistake, it's usually counterproductive to say, no, that's wrong. Are you serious? How long did you say you have been studying English? Etc.
Thank you. Thank you. Avoid sarcasm. ¿A poco si vas en nivel avanzado? ¿A poco si fuiste a Disney en vacaciones? Avoid that, right? On the other hand, try to be kinder or kind. Not bad, nearly good try. That's interesting. That's an interesting mistake. So thank you for your effort. Blah, 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 blah. Number 2, Ale Alvarez.
Sorry. Some say that you shouldn't laugh at students' mistakes, but it sometimes breaks the mistakes taboo and makes linguistics, risk, and disasters an acceptable part of the classroom culture. Sorry.
Very good.
Someone's bothering me here. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No worries. We understand. So, true. You know your students. Make sure that excuse me, make sure that your students know you and the other classmates and not to be bullying other classmates. Okay? Making a mistakes, teach them that making a mistakes is not wrong. It's part of life. All right? Next one is the Elke.
The ability to correct themselves when they make a mistake, it's an important one for students to develop. Encourage it and give them time to correct themselves.
As I told you, it doesn't matter if you do a pep talk or motivational phrase, whatever you do, even you can make a mistake and laugh at you so they can feel relaxed. But whatever it is, you need to teach them that mistakes are necessary. Next one, Lorena, can you read it? Number 4.
Once they've done the correction, have students repeat the statement again in order to integrate their correction to their learning process. This last step is very important.
Very good. Once you do, you ask the question, what? Juanito Perez got the mistake, corrects himself. Okay, thank you. Very good, Juanito. Do it again. So then he will register the correction in his mind. Next one, April. No, you read. It's the next one, Almendra.
Okay, it's much better for students if they get into the habit of listening to themselves when they are speaking and correct themselves as they go along. Obviously, they won't be able to correct all the mistakes they make, but they will be able to correct a lot of them.
Very good. So again, on the possible, as much as you can, have your students listen to themselves. Now it's super easy, right? Now it's super easy. WhatsApp audio for homework, for example. Okay, for homework, parents send you audios in English. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're allowed to do that in the school. I'm just saying they're super easy right now. Okay, and the last one, Alejandra Murillo.
As far as possible, correct mistake anonymously. Do this by making notes of students' mistakes as you monitor them, putting them on the board later. Depends on the type of drill.
Depends on the type of the drill, okay? But if it's possible, try to make it to everybody the correction. Like for example, you're doing the activity find someone who has a cat, has a dog. So everybody talks at the same time. You're monitoring. So then you place on the whiteboard the list of not the names, but the list of the mistakes. And then you have them, or you correct them and help them to correct themselves. And you can see children's face. Ah, así era. Okay, all right. So remember, teachers, never assume from students. Make an atmosphere relax, and modeling or giving the answer is dangerous for them. It makes them lazy. It's the easiest. I know, it's the easiest. And believe me, you will have some of those days that you just like, shut up, you know. But fine, like I told you the other day that we discussed that with Natalia, one day at a time, or one class at a time in this case. Cool. All righty. Questions so far? No? Okay, okay, it's a good time. Okay, so now tell me, well, for homework. For homework, you're doing online classes right now, right? All of you, or it's no, it's not all of you, right? Some of you are in the school.
Some of us, the ones that we have COVID, or we have 3 students with COVID or familiar with COVID, we are in our houses. The rest of people are in school. Okay. Like in my case, okay. We are in our house.
Okay.
But only my group.
Yeah. Okay, well then, okay. The thing is that I need to observe you, or at least record. Okay, this is the homework, and then you figure out how. Okay? I need to see how you correct a student.
With actual students, or like?
Yeah, no, it should be real. It's not like, a ver, Juanito, dime esto. No. Yes, miss. What, miss? Yes, Alejandra Murillo.
That was my question for you. Is because the whole presentation focused only on the errors or mistakes that we have in conversation class. My question for you is, which advice could you give us for or recommendations when they have written problems? Like, it's because for some teachers, it's really important, like they have all the words correct or everything in order. And some other teacher says, no, okay, I only circle the mistake and that's okay. I don't put like a cross or something. I only fix the mistake like with a circle. What would you do?
Very good question. Actually, it's the same principle. What would you what I suggest, and this is in a different topic called writing class. But I don't think we're gonna see it because of time, but it's a very, very good question, and it's a very interesting and simple answer. Number one, and you have to do it tomorrow if you haven't done it, assign symbols to your mistakes, or not your mistakes, assign symbols to the mistakes of the children. I'll give an example. Guys, if I circle, it's a verb mistake. If I double underlining, it's a conjugation mistake. If it's a triangle, it's a coherence mistake. I don't know. I mean, you develop at least six or seven symbols. Once they have it, even some teachers even have it in the computer, printed and give it to the students, right? So they can have it at hand.
Instead of symbols, can be colors. Like
color coding, yeah, fine. It works the same thing. If I highlight it in red, it's a verb mistake. If I highlight it in yellow, it's a coherence mistake, blah blah blah. But very important, students must have it at hand when you deliver back the essay. So they can see, they have it underlined or the symbols, whatever, and they have the list of the codes, so they can start working and thinking in the mistakes. All right? Obviously, you would do a second or maybe twice, how do you call it, opportunities to have them to, like we did in conversation, error correction, no? If pues miss que yo no veo, está en rojo, pero qué, o qué. So then you need to decide, especially you guys that you have multi-levels, no? You can't expect a very basic student have the same mistakes an advanced student and vice versa. So according to your student in particular, you will decide, Alejandra, if you give him a hint or if you give him an example, but never move from the codes. See what I mean? You have a code, you teach them, you taught them, and then that's it. They need to figure it out. Some other teachers give them more time, or for homework, for example. Okay, this is the mistakes. Find the mistakes, correct the mistakes. I bring it back next week. It depends on your classroom. It depends on your student. But for written correction, the key is coding. Whether it's a symbol, whether it's color, whatever you use. I've seen teachers. I once saw a teacher that had a lot of stickers, and he had the Mickey Mouse sticker for this, Goofy sticker for whatever you do, whatever works for you. But just assign coding to the mistakes. So if you think about it, Alejandra, it's the same principle. You don't give them the answer. You just guide them for them to deduct the mistake. Yes? Did I answer your question, Alejandra? Your petition? Yes? No worries. Thank you. Espérate, ya se me lo sabía. This is thank you. Yes. And
no, that is in Spanish. This is thank you.
In
in American, like this. Thank you.
Okay. Sí, somos bien tercermundistas, ¿verdad? Porque, no, I'm just saying, because, ¿sabes cómo se dice Jesús you're Catholic, ¿cómo se dice Jesús en Mexican Sign Language? Así. Because of the nails, how do you call it? How do you say Jesus in American English? American Sign Language, English Sign Language.
They use the alphabet.
The JES, okay. Okay. No, but find out, Google Mexican Sign Language for the devil. That's even worse. Anyways, okay. Questions? So what is homework, Jimena?
We need to record. How do we correct our students?
Very good. It has to be real, though.
But I have a question because we're in kindergarten and we don't do much writing. I have first and second grade, so the mistakes that I might correct, that will be like speaking or maybe
Yeah,
comprehension.
that's fine. That's fine. Speaking is fine. No worries. I was just answering about writing because of Alejandra's question, which was a very good question. Okay, but sí, mi esposa hermosa me trajo Krispy Kreme. Sí, I love home office. Cara de niño toxo. Déjame los presumo. Ok, es que dice que es para una recaudación de fondos, está bien, vamos a donar. Ok, so the same concept, Jimena. Okay, if it's speaking, even if it's little children, you're teaching I don't know, dinosaurs or animals, farm animals. Okay, so this is a
family members.
Family members. Okay, so this is my dog, or not but my aunt, my mother, who is she? My aunt. What? I don't know. Just the same techniques, just apply it to your local circumstances. Okay? Good, very good. Now, I listened to you about last week's homework. Oh my Lord in heaven, Jesus Christ, Lord baby Jesus. Hombre, ¿cómo dice los psicólogos? El hidden curriculum, el currículo oculto. ¿Quién es la psicóloga? ¿Dónde está la psicóloga Paloma? No está.
She's not here.
No, she's not here, ¿no? The hidden curriculum dice que es que te brota lo que tú condenas. Algo así dice la premisa. Que le dicen a los niños, no es tu tarea. ¿Y ahora ustedes? Okay. Elke, you did homework. Very good.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for being responsible.
I have kinder level, so I don't have these techniques the same as elementary school, but I have these cards that are very useful for me. It's about the rules to keep the order in class. So you can make your own rules or with your student at the very beginning course, at the beginning of the course. So I have these noisy kids all the time yelling and running. So the first rule is not yelling. Can you see it? Not yelling. The second rule is raise your hand if you need to talk. Don't yell, don't speak by yourself. Raise your hand if you need to say something. And the third one is listen to your teacher for directions, because everybody is talking and they don't listen to me. So listen to and when some of these kids are yelling, I say, what's the first rule? Not yelling. Or just listen to your teacher and they be quiet because I need to say the direction or the instruction. So I call these rules in order to they be quiet. You can use whatever you want. I have another one that is clean up, because at the end of the class it's a mess there with glue, with papers, so we need to clean up, clean your space, or you can use work in silence, or say please and thank you, because we are educating all these little people.
Nice, very good. You have it a very good, nice challenge, right? I'm certified to teach little children, but I don't like it. I don't like teaching children. I love children, but my problem is that I love them too much, and then I get too attached to them, and it's a problem. But yeah.
Yes,
that-
but
have a really good
you
habit.
now you can say be quiet, or you can say that nowadays. So you need to make like as a rule, but we are agree with these rules. Yes, you make it and I make it. So you give them these rules at the very first time, at the
Yes.
first class that you can, and then you can call to the rules even they are noisy or they are breaking these rules.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I many years ago I taught, but it was primero en el Colegio Legionario in Jalisco, and see, my problem is that one of the guys, one of the children, was mistreated, from his parents. So I got too attached, and I got mad, and me fue echar pleito. I was fired, of course. So I tried to avoid teaching, because the other day, one of you asked me, ¿no te gusta dar clases a niños? No, I mean, I love it, but that's my problem. You get too attached, Anyways, who else had done homework?
Me. Hi.
Thank you, Natalia. Natalia, and then Alejandra.
I'm teaching 6th grade, right? So I'm dealing with a lot of hackers and a lot of moods and a lot of stuff. So the first technique I applied to gain and control my group is to relate them. Like, I don't like to be mean. I don't like to be like, oh, sit down, don't talk. And I like to be like relaxed. My kids love to be with me. So I think that they feel relatable to me, and I am young too. I don't look like, but I'm young. So, and I think that they feel comfortable with me, and that helps a lot. That helps a lot because they know that I'm relaxed, but they know that are you okay? Do you need something? Give me a second. But they also know that I'm gonna push them, and I'm gonna make them learn, from one way to another. But I need they to learn, or they to understand what I'm saying. And the other technique that I applied was I need to deal with a hacker last time. I used to be like, I get real mad when something happened. And now I tried that technique that you showed us last class about just telling them why you think that. The hacker start laughing about another kid and the way he writes, and he started like mocking and making jokes. And I was like, why are you saying that? Why are you feeling that way? Oh, so you think you are better than him? Why? And he freezes. He started like, oh my God, what's happening? So yeah, that works too.
Excellent, very good. Thank you, Natalia. Remember, el que se enoja pierde.
Yeah.
And then that's what they want at the end of the day. So,
Me pasa lo mismo, soy muy aprensiva también, pero I'm learning.
No, yo soy igual. Pero, pues bueno, anyways, don't get, it's not personal, or maybe it is.
I know.
Maybe it is personal. Don't take it like that.
Es que no tolero que se burlen de otros, no.
No, claro, por supuesto.
Buenas tardes. Hola, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. Oh, perdón, sorry. Alejandra.
Me? Yeah. Can I share with you the screen?
Yes. Wait, let me.
Okay, it says that you can.
Yes, okay, go ahead. Now you can.
Okay. I make it like a chart. First of all, what I do is like recognize good effort or behavior, And the activities that I do is like giving coupons for class participation, like great or good job, like small coupons. And when they make a very good participation or very nice work, I give them the homework coupon. The homework coupon is like not for all homeworks, but for some of them that they can say, oh, I don't want to make the book report or something, and they can decide to buy it. And the good job coupons or effort coupons, they can use it for things or simple things for like changing or sitting in the teacher's chair that it's more comfortable, or buying things like erasers, sharpeners, or something like that. And they really like it. And another thing that is that if they don't follow the instructions that I give them, they have to pay coupons too. Like if they are speaking Spanish or they were, I don't know, their place is very dirty or they are not collaborating in teams or something like that, they have to pay coupons. So they focus on the good ones, but also they realize there are consequences for not following the instructions. Another thing that I love to do with them is sing and dance. I love music, so that's one of the things that I love to do with them. I make pauses between each activity and I ask them to dance and relax. Why? Because they are really shy, and they are afraid, like, oh, they are going to look at me, or they don't want me. I don't want to speak between or in front of everyone. So when they start dancing or doing funny things, they can feel relaxed and they are not afraid or to be, or they are not ashamed anymore. And when they are really, really like restless, when they like, I start singing a part of or they know that I start singing a part of the song, and they have to complete the other part of the song so they can like quiet. And I use frozen words. When I use it, they cannot move, and it's really funny. Like when they are if I say the word, they cannot move. That's my technique.
Very, very, very nice. I love it. Love it. I love it because it's you how do you call it? You switch the punishment to something fun, something that they can actually look for it. That's awesome, because then your students will be motivated. It's pretty cool. Like it. It's similar to the happy face, sad face, no? But the coupons are awesome to use. Natalia, you were going to say something?
Yeah. Ale's classroom está arriba del mío y siempre me doy cuenta de esos bailes y de esas canciones, siempre.
Oh, that's good. No, that's perfect. In fact, let me tell you this: if when you, because you will have an opportunity to teach adults, they love it too. So many of the techniques that you have now is the same thing for adults, really.
Nati is saying because the projector maybe is moving.
Right.
Yeah,
It's a
the
move.
projector and todo empieza a vibrar todo así encima de nosotros y ya sabemos que están bailando.
Very nice, very nice. I love to see some. And one point of I'm going to ask Mariana to observe you. Really, this course, this course is it's a 6-month long course. We're going to do it just a couple of 2 or 3 classes only. Excuse me. But if I'll ask Mariana, see if I can observe you and just not just to give my feedback, but to know your working field working, right? Working field. All righty, cool. Time is up. So do homework, and if you can record it and send it to me in private, that will be cool. So before leaving, let's do the selfie. On 1, 2. Very good. I'll send it in a moment. All right. Thank you very much. I will send also the YouTube class And remember that it's in private mode, nobody can see it but you. And that's it. So far, so good. Yes, I was telling Mariana that it's five weeks. That means 10 sessions, right? I was telling Mariana that 5 could be training, teaching techniques, and 5 could be grammar. She accepted, but she said, talk to the teachers what you need more. So I'm gonna send you the topics, because this should be like a third class, because last one we couldn't. The third class, so we're missing 2 for techniques. I'll send you the topics. You decide which one are you more interested in, and then we do grammar, or they're open for you to know or to see if you want to do also other teaching techniques. Okay, so I'll send you the topics and you decide. All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. See you around.
Bye.
Thank you, Gerson. Bye.
Gerson, I have a question for you.
Huh?
The next class is here too, or presentation?
Yes, Tuesday is on Zoom.
Thank you. Bye.
No, 4 to 4.
At 4?
No, it's 3:30, no? No, sí es cierto, era 4 a 6. Tuesday, 4 to 6 on Zoom. And Thursday is 3 to 5 at the school.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect. All right, thank you very much. See you around, guys.
Thank you.